What's up, Stephen Johnson stocks? Don't know what that was. Life update, I guess. It's January 6th now, and it's been pretty good. Trading wise, it's been terrible. Don't get us wrong, trading wise, it's been terrible. But in terms of not drinking and doing a lot of exercise and being committed to the pledges that I've made in terms of New Year, it's been very good. And I feel good. In terms of trading, worst week ever. And it comes from a lot of things which I explain in the Excel. Some bad habits developed from winning consistently. But I mean, am I really bothered about it? Not really. I mean, it hurts, yeah, but to have 4 green months in a row to catapult like I did, I've got to expect a pullback. I've got to expect to give, 50, 60, 70% back. I'm still very much learning. I don't know anyone who, I know Roland, when he was just getting over PDT, he had some struggles going over and under. I'm having some struggles going over and under. I know Tim Grattani, it took him like 14, 15 months trading full-time to really get it. So to trade part-time, I can only imagine it takes a couple of years just to put stuff into perspective. So I I'm very, very, very much on course. I don't see any problem at all. Yes, I'll give back all of last month's gains in 3 days. Yes, that's definitely true. But as long as you learn from your losses, and to cut down your trading, to have the rules like don't let a green trade turn into a red trade, cut down your trades when you're losing, only choose the best setups, recognize that the market's shifted, and for me, I've took a lot of great things out of it. I've had some extraordinary help from strangers. I've had a lot of support from strangers, and I want to thank those people. And I'm putting some extraordinary efforts in to really mastering long setups, because I'm good at shorts, but for me the market's just not short at the moment. So I'm really, really, really grinding out mastering good long setups on the dailies and on intraday, how those setups form. And I'll show you guys that kind of stuff once I master it. And it sounds mental, but I'm not glad I took the losses, but I'm very glad that the losses forced me into this overdrive discipline to study even harder and learn even more about the market. And this will probably happen another 6 times. I'll have another 3-month run of doing great, have some crazy losses, study like shit, learn even more about the market, and this will put me on the track to being a full-time trader. No doubt I'll finish the year green. Finished last year green. No doubt I'll finish this year green. Enjoy the lessons, enjoy the trades, live the dream. So, yeah, the beauty of transparency is that I get to not only make huge losses, but I get to tell all you guys when I make them. And
bulletin received.
Does it feel good? No, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. To take your worst week of all time, worst month of all time, biggest loss of all time. But the one consolidation is, if I look at kind of my account balance, in December it went from 25 to 27.5, and then now it's like 24,707. I lost like, I don't know, $300 over a 2-month period, which is really, really nothing. It's really nothing at all. And it's like maybe, I don't even know, like less than a day's wage maybe. So it's or a night out. It's like a all day out in Dubai. So it's really not a lot of money lost when you put things into perspective. But it's not the money. The money never bothers us. It's more the fact that I can be so sloppy and not cut the losses. And you'll be like, well, what flipped? How did you go like 60, 60, 60, 60, win an average, and then go down to 40 all of a sudden? And I wouldn't so much say I went on tilt, although some of the intricacies of me trading, like cutting losses fast, taking gains when it's not working, that's definitely affected me trading. That's definitely made me trading worse. That's definitely made some of the losses bigger. But more what it is It's more that, for sure, there was a lot of trades here in December, and a couple of them were maybe a bit reckless, and I shouldn't have took them. So maybe I overtraded a little bit in December, but there was a lot of good patterns there. There was a lot of stocks with really bad long-term charts, with really big histories of failing, with bad SEC filings, which you could short into resistance, and they were all coming back down because in November and December, nothing was running. Everyone was selling stocks. It's a good reason to take a loss and lower your taxes before the end of the year. But in January, there's the January effect, and everything runs like crazy. And on top of that, blockchain's hitting new highs, and then we've got the likes of the weed sector making new highs, and it makes shorting a really difficult market because the shit that runs higher than you think, and all of the momentum is in the weed and the blockchain sectors, which are all at multi-year highs. So there's nothing with a bad long-term chart. And then if I just think, well, I'll just continue trading the amount of trades I was trading anyway, and I'll just find less good setups, then all of a sudden you start getting into bad habits and you take big losses, and then you take bigger losses because you're trying to make back the original losses, and it all goes wrong in a bad circle. And what I've learned to do is go back to 1 or 2 trades, trading A-grade setups next week. And I've been very, very, very grateful to have some very good friends, like definite shout out to Trade the Trend, who's like the kid's up, I don't know if I should say, but the kid's up like 700,000 on the year. And he's just like a kid from Birmingham who's a friend, and he's been having like good 1.5 hour, 2 hour calls with us every day to help us out and give some support, and also like the likes of Roscoe Nolan had some calls, and some of the other guys. So you've got to have friends around you, and of course Timbo and Tim Sykes, the guys who've been around with us for years. You've got to have some support around you when you go through some bad situations. And for me, it's about adapting and trading less and learning more long-based setups, which I'm really, really doing now, and I'm very excited to trade small, have a green week next week, mainly based on longs. And of course, I'm getting over. Unfortunately, I'm under PDT, so I'm adding to my account. I've just added $800. That's the final thing I'll say. The beautiful thing about Interactive Brokers is you've got a 25 grand account. When you go into PDT, it doesn't let you trade. You have to add into your account. So as soon as I was down 300 on my account, I had to add in 800. So now I'm 500 over PDT. So the most I can lose next week is $500, and then I've got to add in again. So it really stops you from blowing up your account. So thank God for PDT. Thank God for IB. So this was the first trading day of the year, and I took a $300-ish profit on a Bitcoin stock. Then I jumped in NXTD, took a $100 loss on a daft long, and my plan on ACBFF was pretty outrageous looking back. And there's a very, very important rule to remember when you're shorting stocks, and if there's no overhead resistance, if there's no, let's say, there's no overhead resistance, if the stock's at 52-week highs, if the stock's got an uptrending overall chart instead of a downtrending overall chart, you should never try and fight to catch the top. It's much, much safer to wait for the first green day. And if you're shorting a downtrending chart with lots of overhead resistance, then it's much more, or a history of many times failing to hold spikes, and it's a medium-ish float above 10 million, then you can short the first green day, but you can never try and find the top, especially on an OTC cannabis stock, which is a super, super hot sector. The weed sector has been on fire, only slowing down recently, I would imagine, due to the consequence of Bitcoin coming back. And I just thought I could attack it, and I thought, look, it's up 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. I'll attack it, and it's got to come back down to the 6s. And I learned that a hot sector, weed sector, OTC multi-day runner at 52 weeks highs doesn't have to do anything, and I caught it mid-run. And my idea was, because it cracked here, it was probably over. And I was a bit pissed about NXTD. So I basically just started, it popped up, came down, trapped a load of shorts, kind of had this double bottom here, and I'll just zoom in a little bit if I can. I think my computer's going slow because I'm running loads of shit. I'm gonna have to restart the motherfucker. And yeah, I mean, what ended up happening was stock popped up, panicked out, and then as it was grinding, I was thinking that it's got to be over. So I started building in the 850s, thinking it would top in the 880s, consolidated in the 880s, pushed to the 9s, and then the 920s, then the 940s. I was just averaging up all the way up, and I ended up taking like a $1,700 loss. Ended up thinking, I remember selling some in the 940s, and then thinking, I hope it comes down tomorrow. And then if we go to the next day, we had a little washout in the morning, and it didn't fully break down, and so I just got out. And then I started thinking the next day, well, it's got to come down again. I just got like revenge trading. So I was in and out a few more times, trying to short it and cover and short and cover, in and out, and it was just choppy, and I could never nail it. And in reflection, I mean, I should have never been in it. And the funny thing was, when it did gap down, the first time it has its gap down day, it's a good short. And look at the risk reward. I mean, if you got short on the gap, say in the 11s, you're covering anywhere in the 9s, you're taking 20%. The irony is, when it did have its first gap down day, there's no shares to short left at Interactive Brokers. So the lesson is, don't trade it on its way up. Wait for the first red day. On the first red day, it pulls down. You can bank, but never short it on the way up. This could have gone to 20. So what a what a wonderful video recap. I'm sure I've already talked about it, so let's just go into the trade. IZEA, I was up a few hundred on the day, and I was like, right, I'm only 1,800 down on the month. I'm up 200, I've made 200 back, so that's 1,600. Let's just try and make another 200 total. Wrong mindset, and it's a former runner. It had a gap down, it had one failed spike, but it's in no way, the company is in no way in a bad situation. It's not got a long downtrending chart. And I mean, if we look at the SEC filings, I was just going through them today actually with a buddy, just to help him out, Mr. Peter Roscoe, who will probably be watching this. We can see that when we look at the SEC filings, just stupid stuff, like you shouldn't really be jumping into shorting companies. Let's just bring this into the window more. Hang on. You shouldn't really be looking to short companies who have cash. And if you look at IZEA, this is IZEA here. If you look at them, the company has, as of September, it's got 3 million. As of December, it had 5 million. And you shouldn't be shorting companies that have really have got more assets than liabilities, and they've got 15 million in assets and only 9 million in liabilities, so they've got more coming in than going out. And when you look at the revenues, this is a real fucking company. They're having 8 million turnover. Fair enough, it cost them 3.7 million to produce that turnover, but overall, they're making 4.4 million in terms of what they're selling, and they're only taking a very minor overall loss when you take the general deductions of rent and marketing here and here. They're making a very minor net loss, and it's much less. The last statement was 1.5 million, now it's 500,000. So this is a company kind of coming into profit with a lot of money. So, and not a bad long-term chart. So it's not honestly the best short, and it's not the worst long-term short either. But anyway, I thought, you know what it is, I'll try and chase this money, I'll try and make it back. And the other thing is, you should never short low floats with big volume. This is a 4.7 million float. Just doing everything wrong at the minute. And I was watching here from 450 to 480 pop up, and I was like, sweet. I'll build in short a little bit 480, come down as in the money. And really, when it pops up here, I mean, average up a little bit into the 5s, but when it's holding here, it's holding its highs. You've just got to get out. And honestly, I could have been in profit here. I averaged up. I could have been flat out here. Then it popped, averaged up more in the 530s. Could have been out in profit here. Held all day, pushed all the way up into the 540s. And by this time, I could have been out for about a $200 loss here. And then I did what I should have done first, last. And I checked the news. And the news is not really any special news. This is Ted Murphy, the CEO of IZEA. And the news is he put a tweet out with a picture saying, "Keep them coming, blockchain." And you guys all know that any fucking company that decides to add blockchain services, blockchain titles, blockchain fucking payment gateways, blockchain technology, acquire a blockchain company, it fucking goes through the roof because blockchain's hot. It fell off its highs, but I think it's around 16,000 again now. And stocks like the .com boom are going 100% by associating themselves with blockchain, like they were by having a website back in 1998, 1999, whenever it was. So when I saw the tweet, I was like, if a PR comes tomorrow announcing blockchain and I'm $10,000 in this, by the time I've averaged up and up and up and up and up, I'm fucked. So I just basically covered right here in the 570s. And I basically took the $10,000 loss, and I mean, that's pretty much it. The stock actually did come back down, and I could have took profit, but it's the wrong lesson. I should have been cutting it here. I should have been cutting it here. I should have been cutting it here, and I just didn't. What's up? Welcome back. I just want to say that it's very easy when you're pie in the sky doing well to lose touch of reality. It's very easy when you go on a bad run to lose touch with reality. So I just want to put things back into perspective. And there's no better song to accompany it than this. Should I be dancing on my biggest week ever? No one can tell me what to do. I decide what to do. And the reason I decide what to do, the reason I say I can fucking do this if I want, is because 95% of the motherfuckers out there spend 5 hours a day in the evening watching fucking television instead of bettering themselves. The fucking people in my hometown go to the pub every single night after work and drink for 5 hours, then wake up feeling shit the next morning and feel shit at work for the next 8 hours. This is not a fucking viable reality. And I know this, because I'm not a fucking idiot. And if me wanting to grow, if me wanting to succeed, if you want to grow, if you want to succeed, that makes us, you, me, and I, and fucking Dupree, the fucking rebels, baby. And I say, we are still in this together. I thank you so much for your support. You have helped me beyond extraordinary measure that you will not even fucking realize the opportunities and the doors this has opened for me. So I want to say thank you, but I also want to say don't lose touch with reality through the good and the bad. Remember, 95% of the world are fucking losers. We are the rebels. We will succeed together. If you're above me, hasta luego, bon voyage, run to the sunset, baby, on a fucking motorbike. If you're not ahead of us, let me get there and I will fucking pull you up with me. If you show commitment, dedication and effort, live the dream, come and rebel. It's not the end, it's only the beginning. We will not fail. Rebel, rebel, fucking, I am the devil, baby.